Earthquake.
No, Captain. Fast formations.
Bitcoin has blown past its previous barrier or hurdle, whichever you want to call it, of 100K. If only somebody told you that this was going to happen a year ago. Close to the end of 2023 is when I'm going to take out a big loan and just buy up as much Bitcoin as I can. 2024 is when Bitcoin will hit 6 figures for the first time in its history. But that's neither here nor there. Even though the price is over 100K, you should still be buying in because, believe it or not, you're still early.
I'm right here watching history be made. Bitcoin is now up to $111. It's an all-time high and it's continuing to rise. I've seen it break 3 times today. It went up to 110 and this is the highest that it's been. It's ridiculous.
And you're not going to believe me, so this is like one of my last ditch efforts to bring you on board, and we're going to talk about why the next stop is 125K, 150K, 200K. So this is the current price of Bitcoin. We have a current resistance level of 103K. We have a current support of 97K, and I want to show you why that is. We're looking at the order book of Bitcoin. And the order book is basically who's buying and who's selling at specific prices. Now, I just learned about this recently, so I don't know too much about it, but the lines make sense. So if you do know about order books, please let me know in the comments. And for reference, what I'm unsure about is this curved line. Please tell me how the curved line differentiates from the horizontal line. I'm assuming the horizontal line is the amount of orders at that particular level, but I don't know what it would mean for this curved line to be up here when, for instance, this horizontal line stops right here. So any extra information you guys have for me would be great. But let's talk about those resistance and support levels. I'm at 103 for a current resistance level. That means when Bitcoin hits that price, it's typically going to come back down. Why is that? When we look at the order level and we look at this big, long horizontal, it's slightly below 103K, meaning that as Bitcoin's price approaches 103K, the current resistance level, all these orders to sell Bitcoin at 102.5K are going to be filled. And that's people taking profits. Some people say, hey, I just put some money in. I wasn't expecting it to blow up this much. I can get rid of a whole bunch of loans. I can pay for a house for the first time in forever. So I'm just going to be done with Bitcoin and I'm going to go on to my next purchase. That's cool. And so the price of Bitcoin, there has to be big buyers who are going to shoot past this 103K level. The next level I saw, there was a big horizontal line at 105K, but I don't see it anymore. I see that the next big hurdle for Bitcoin is 109K. So I'm actually going to switch this up because now it has a new target to get over. I mean, you've got some small players trying to get out at 115, but once you pass 127, there's nobody up here. There's a lot of people at 150, 159, but after the 150s, there's virtually nobody selling within these price targets. So if big money comes in and swoops up all these sells and gets past the 150s, it's automatically, most likely going to jump up. What's that current level at? 210 to 15, 220, 225. That's how the price works. While I do look at the charts, I've been looking at this order book recently because I'm a numbers and a math nerd. I think this stuff is interesting. Looking at these people battling, trying to get their positions filled is interesting to me, as sad as that sounds. But it's like the 300 are battling King Xerxes' men.
Earthquake.
No, Captain. fast formations.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! This is where they die! On these shields, boys! Remember this day, man. For it will be yours for all time. Spartans! Lay down your weapons! Persians! Come and get them! Give them nothing, but take from them everything! That's the best you can do!
And these are the hot gates, folks. That's exactly what it is. And then for those who are saying Bitcoin is going to crash soon, it's going to enter its bear market soon, and it's not even 2025 yet, we're at the pi cycle top indicator. And every time the yellow line crosses over the green line, which is highlighted by the vertical red dots, that's when Bitcoin has crashed and entered its official bear market. And so when we're looking at how close is the yellow to crossing over the green right now? Well, let's zoom in. It's not even close. So we know Bitcoin moves in cycles based off of its halving years, 2016, 2020, 2024, 2028, so on and so forth. Every 4 years, the halving year is a mini bull run. The following year after the halving year is its official bull run. The following year after that is its bear run. And then the following year after that is the consolidation year. That means the price is mellowing out. And then the following year after that is the halving year, and the mini bull market will start that year, and the cycle continues. This is a mathematically calculated way to structure your portfolio and become wealthy. And if you have no idea what I just said, subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be doing based off of the year to maximize my wealth. Every year at the start of the year, I'll tell you what type of year this is in relation to Bitcoin, and then tell you how I'm going to be changing up my portfolio to maximize my wealth in that particular year. How about that? All you have to do is subscribe to the channel and get access to it. All right, we don't need the computer anymore, so now we're gonna go back to standing up. I'm gonna give you even more gems if you stick around to the end. Now, this may sound crazy, but I realize that we are living in a matrix.
We've all globally lost economic sovereignty to the big banks, big business, big bureaucrats who've been printing money for the bailouts of these banks. But despite all that printing, the hundreds of trillions of dollars of printing by central banks, despite all of that, they say that HSBC has this capital forbearance, that they've been lying, extreme earnings lies.
Oh, they've been lying about their revenues.
Yes.
They've been lying about their income. They've been lying about their balance sheet. They've been lying about their income statement.
HSBC faces £70 billion capital hole, warns Hong Kong analysts. HSBC could have overstated its assets by more than £50 billion and ultimately need a capital injection of close to £70 billion before the end of this decade, according to an incendiary report published by a Hong Kong-based research firm.
What a loser.
Forensic Asia says of their stated capital ratios that they would appear to be nothing more than a mirage. That's what
I've been saying! It's a hologram, a fraud! It has been for years! HSBC, there's nothing there except a lie! God, that's a lie! It's a lie! It's a lie! They're lying! There's nothing there! It's a piece of dirt! If you buy that stock, you're buying financial terrorism. Don't you understand that? Wait, oh, I forgot. Dancing with the Stars is on. Never mind.
I'm laughing because it sounds funny and people are gonna think I'm some conspiracy theorist. That's okay. But I want everybody who knows me, I want my family and my friends, I want them to be prosperous. If you're watching me and you're subscribing to me, you are now a part of my extended family. So I have to make sure you are taken care of. If you are not buying assets, particularly Bitcoin, you will be working yourself to death. And I'm gonna have Jack Mallard explain what I mean.
Can you give them the 101 on what the Bitcoin value proposition is in your eyes?
Totally, yeah. I like to think of money as our time and our energy in an abstracted form. You do this podcast in exchange for that, you get money. I run Strike in exchange for that, you get money. You mow a lawn, you fix a windshield, you get money. So money is the market good that captures our collective contributions to society. It's intended to capture our time and energy so that that time and energy can either be saved or be traded. Right? You can't go to the restaurant after this podcast and say, hey guys, I just recorded a podcast, I'll take 2 steaks. If a government can print their own money and debase their money, that means they're debasing by proxy your time and energy.
Do you understand what Jack is saying? You work harder and harder every year, and the money that you accumulate is worth less and less every year. Most of you are not getting raises every year to keep up with inflation. You're going to have to work harder and you're going to have to work longer for less money as you near retirement. Let that sink in.
What have you got planned for the rest of your day? Well, I'm going to go wait for my next check from the government to arrive. The money from the last check they sent didn't go as far as the money from 2 checks ago they sent for some reason. Sounds like they should just print more money so they can send even more of it out. They are! Well, problem solved.
Folks, you cannot be a Luddite on this. You cannot be the person who says, I am afraid of technology, I don't understand it, and therefore I'm not going to ever be exposed to it.
Hey man, have you bought any Bitcoin yet? No, I'm not stupid. Doesn't make any sense based on my inability to comprehend new thoughts and ideas. So do you think you'll ever buy Bitcoin? No, I'm much more committed to being wrong about it than I am to admitting I was wrong about it. I admire your dedication.
Let me explain something to you right now. Okay, here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage. Your people in South Africa, you have your rand, right? That's going to zero. That's going to zero. This is going to zero too. Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
Max, do you know that it's a criminal offense to tear up?
Do you know that with the Bitcoin I have, I can buy any freaking senator or congressman I want? I make the laws. He who has the Bitcoin makes the laws, Rand. We're not going to just sit around and let the congressman tell us what to do.
Bitcoin's like a Trojan horse. So this idea that like something could be so attractive that you really can't say no, even if you know what's inside of it. And Bitcoin has this number go up technology, right? But what people don't realize is that NGU is like the Trojan horse. Inside the Trojan horse is FGU, freedom go up technology. So dictators and rogue regimes and corporations are going to buy, mine, tax, accumulate this thing because it's the best performing financial asset in the world. What they don't realize, or they're going to have to ignore, is that they're also aiding and abetting this freedom technology, which allows individuals to be sovereign and eventually erodes their power.
I am inevitable.
And to close out the show, we're going to do the top 10 reasons people are afraid or aren't buying Bitcoin, just so I can dispel any rumors people might have. People have the question of what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is basically a currency that doesn't rely on any banks. All you need is a phone, a laptop, and an internet connection, and you're your own bank. Number 2 is Bitcoin a safe investment? Bitcoin is safe because governments are not safe.
Every day last week, it announced emergency lending programs. It pledged to spend at least $700 billion supporting mortgages, banks, money market mutual funds, corporate bonds, and lending to central banks of other countries.
We're moving much faster than we moved in 2008. We're being more aggressive.
Can you characterize everything that the Fed has done this past week as essentially flooding the system with money?
Yes, exactly.
And there's no end to your ability to do that.
There's no end to our ability to do that. There's no end to our ability to do that.
Bitcoin has no top because fiat money has no bottom.
I'm going to say that again. Bitcoin is a safe investment because a poor investment is trusting your government to handle your money. Look at the recent audits. The government cannot figure out where billions of dollars went. You are paying taxes to somebody who can't figure out where billions of dollars went. What does that mean? What are you talking about? Let me tell Chase that I can't find where $8 of my money went when I have a bill to pay them. What are they gonna say to me? Let me tell the IRS I don't know where $200 are that I owe you. What would they do to me? Number 3, can I store Bitcoin securely? You can keep Bitcoin on an exchange like Coinbase. In my opinion, Coinbase is currently the most popular exchange that people use to store their Bitcoin. Now, with new regulations coming in place with the Trump administration, we may see even safer institutions come up. We may see other traditional banks begin to custody digital assets. We don't know yet, but right now most people are using Coinbase. But you can, which is the first time in history, store your digital assets on your own hardware wallet. Now you may be saying to yourself, I can keep cash at my house, but what's stopping the government from kicking down your door and seizing your money if they say, we don't like what you posted on XYZ yesterday? They'll seize your assets real quick. Travel down the highway with over $50,000 in cash and let a cop stop you and find out that you have that much money in your car and see what happens. When you have your money on a digital wallet, no one has access to it unless they have the PIN. No one can repopulate your wallet unless you have the seed phrase. So if you have those two things in your head, no one has access to your money. Number 4, is Bitcoin a good hedge against inflation? Your only other options are precious metals, but what I find funny is that you can go to APMEX and buy gold with cash, or you can buy it with Bitcoin. But you know what you can't buy your precious metals with? You can't buy your precious metals with gold. A lot of people like to say gold is the better inflation hedge. But where can you use gold? People want to be able to have their cake and eat it too. They want something that appreciates over time, and if they feel like using it, they can actually use it. Look at these price points on the appreciation value of Bitcoin versus gold versus the S&P. Number 5, what are the tax implications of buying Bitcoin? Currently, it's pretty much similar to selling stocks. So if your Bitcoin has appreciated over time, if you choose to sell, you're gonna be taxed on those gains. However, new administration has said they may change the rules where Bitcoin might not be taxed when you sell it, and also digital assets that were created by Americans will not be taxed. Number 6, how has Bitcoin compared to other investments? We showed this chart earlier, but it doesn't hurt to show it again. Fun fact, anybody who has held Bitcoin for more than 4 years has had their Bitcoin gain in value. Number 7, what's the long-term outlook for Bitcoin? $1 million, $10 million, and more. Because governments don't know how to manage their money, and inflation will continue to eat away at your purchasing power. And the only way that they can combat this is printing more money, which makes money less valuable, which makes the price of Bitcoin more valuable, because the amount of Bitcoin that you can actually accumulate is decreasing every 4 years. Number 8, can you use Bitcoin in everyday transactions? Not yet. And I don't even know that you would, because what do wealth builders do? We buy assets. Well, then what's the point of Bitcoin if you just hold it the whole time? If you're new to wealth building, you don't sell your assets. If you happen to need money, you borrow against your asset, get the money as a loan. Loans cannot be taxed because they are debt. Then you have access to the money, you buy more assets, you pay off the debt, your assets are secured, you gain more wealth. That's how this works. This isn't checkers, it's chess. And even though you can't do everyday transactions with Bitcoin yet, I can tell you one thing, you can do a lot more transactions in Bitcoin than you can with gold. And although I can't read the future perfectly, I'll bet anyone $1,000 that in the future, you're gonna be able to use Bitcoin to make purchases. You can already do it in other countries, it just hasn't reached the US en masse yet. Number 9, how much money should you invest in Bitcoin? However much you can invest. I've talked about in a previous video, the 7-10-10-10 rule, where you're using at least 10% of your paycheck for your investments. If you can do 10% of your paycheck to buy Bitcoin, that's great. If you can only do $5 of Bitcoin, that's great. A lot of people think that you have to have 100K to go buy Bitcoin, but I've already posted multiple videos on me buying Bitcoin for as little as $5. Don't drink coffee tomorrow and go buy Bitcoin for $5. Set up a Coinbase account. My referral link is in the description. You can sign up after you watch this video to the end. Number 10, what happens if Bitcoin becomes obsolete? You will not be alive when Bitcoin becomes obsolete. I say that half joking and I say that half truthful. The last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140, which means at that time, it will be its most valuable because there's no more that will ever be created. And somebody will try to come up with something else at that time, but that's going to be something that our grandkids, kids have to figure out. And speaking of grandkids, kids, let's talk about the grandkids. If you do not buy Bitcoin, you will have to tell the story to them one day where they say, Grandma, Grandpa, when Bitcoin was 100K, why didn't you buy any?
There are two kinds of pain in this world. Pain that hurts. Pain that alters.
And you're gonna have to look at them and you're gonna have to slap them in the head because you made the mistake and you're embarrassed and you just hit your grandkids in the future because you're embarrassed. So don't abuse your future grandkids. So when they ask you that question, you can say, I did buy it. You can say, Afro Senpai hit me to the game. I was thinking about not doing it, but I did it because this beautiful black man said that I should. And if this doesn't sway you on buying, I don't know what will. And I guess I'll see you at $250,000 per Bitcoin, and I'll see you at $500,000 per Bitcoin, and I'll for sure see you at $1 million per Bitcoin. And I'm not gonna rub it in your face. I'm just gonna congratulate everybody who listened. Let me know what you think about in the comments. This is a doozy. There's a lot of information. Write to me. Let me help you. Help me help you, because again, I want everybody who's in my family to be wealthy. You watching, you are now my family. I want to help you. If you found value in this video, so many bombs I was dropping in the value department. Don't forget to pay that like tax, subscribe to this channel, share this with somebody who doesn't understand Bitcoin. Share this with them so they can get a glimpse of what's going on here. And until the next one, remember what Michael Saylor said.
Go tell somebody that Bitcoin's going to change the world and they should figure out more about it, because the number one thing you can do is educate the world on Bitcoin and let people know they need to figure out Bitcoin. And my last point to you, you do not sell your Bitcoin.
And then remember what I said. If you need the money, borrow against it. If you can't find an institution that will set you up with borrowing, I'm sure Coinbase is gonna come out with that feature soon enough. Hold the line. Bitcoin's just getting started. And until the next one, remember to smile because you are beautiful. Peace.